Good morning and welcome to another FasTrax webinar. This is a weekly event we do every Friday at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, where we go over various topics of the FasTrax software. You can see a list of these events if you go to our old website, goftx.com, choose the FTX Lifeline button at the top of the page, scroll down just a bit and look for that webinar button, choose that. That will carry you to our webinar page where you can view all of our previous webinars. You can view their recordings by choosing that View Recording button, register for upcoming webinars, and sign up for the newsletter to be notified of upcoming webinars and other FasTrax news. So about 2 weeks ago, we sent down a retail software update, and there were quite a number of changes in this in regard to user groups, users, and permissions. Now before, in previous versions of the software, there were permissions set within the back office / corporate side of the software called FasTrax Director. Those were tied to the entire modules themselves. What I mean by that is whenever I go to Director here, each user that would log in, whenever you log into Director, you're of course choosing a user. Those users have permissions and they're tied to these modules. So like the Pricebook module, you either had access to the Pricebook module, and if you did, you could write, which would allow you to change and do anything in that module. Read, which allows you to view things in that module, but not make any changes. Or none, which would just gray that entire module out entirely. Well, the problem with that was if you had somebody that needed to, let's say, create commission campaigns and manage commission campaigns or system discounts, but not actually make like item changes or buy-down changes. It was limiting in that aspect. You either had to give someone permission to have full capability to do anything in that module or none at all. So we've recently changed that in that most recent update that just went out. And now you have permissions to not only just the modules, but these tabs on the ribbon within each module. So that allows much more dynamic permission management and allows users to have granular controls to see and manipulate only what they need to see and manipulate. So we're going to dive into this and take a look at how this is actually set up. So I'm going to go to the maintenance module, and we're going to look in these two areas here, the user groups and the employees. Now, user groups, those were introduced last year. I want to say around the November release in 2019. And that's going to be where you can have your users, such as this manager here. I can have them inherit permissions from the user groups. So at that point, I could set my permissions that I want for everybody, let's say for a manager or a cashier, to a user group, and then assign the employees to that group, and everything's inherited. So if I ever need to change, let's say a change of permission on just the manager, let's say they can view item details in Pricebook, but they can't make changes, then I can change it in one area rather than 100 different managers if you have 100 different managers. So that was a big change back in November that definitely made things a lot easier to manage mass numbers of employees. So these changes we just introduced, those are both for the user groups and the employees. So if I'm going to take a look here at let's just pull up the administrators group here. We can see that the Director and General Permissions tab now has multiple tabs that are within this tab on the ribbon. So there's your General, there's your Pricebook, which has to do with the Pricebook module, the inventory side, which has to do with the inventory modules, reports, which has to do with the report module, and finally the maintenance, which has to do with the maintenance module. Now the base permission level themselves, like the type that's provided, is not changing. So you still have their write, their read, and none. And those still do the same things. Write, of course, allows you to do anything within that tab of that module. So you can create, you can edit, you can delete, and you can view. Read limits that to where you can only read. You can't save, you can't make any changes, you can't create, you can't delete. It's view only. And then none would essentially gray that tab out. You can't view anything in there and definitely not make any changes. So this allows you to really get down to granular controls for your user groups and allows you to fine tune users to what they can and can't do and not have to worry about, well, if I give them access to this module, will they actually go and make changes in a certain tab that they shouldn't be involved in? So also, there's a couple changes to the checkboxes down here in both this past update and the June and May update. So the biggest thing will be the support utilities. The support utilities allow you to do a number of things such as doing item imports, making mass changes, viewing things that generally aren't done by your average user. These have been moved and they're now permission gated. So it's essentially like how a true false yes no would work. If it's checked, that means it's true, yes. And if it's not checked, that means it's false, no. So if I have this checked, that means that this administrator has the ability to actually go in and utilize the support utilities. Same for the mass update support utilities. Now, just to let you know where those reside for the mass updates support utilities, you go to your Pricebook, you'd go to the mass updates tab, and then you go to support utilities, and then there's your launch support utilities. And once again, this is permission gated. The other is in the administrator settings of Director by choosing that settings hyperlink. And then there's the support utilities here. Those were two big changes that occurred back in the May and June update. The other checkboxes down here, those are going to be the same. You still have the admin, which gives you the ability to utilize the settings hyperlink, your cycle count blind, invoice cost change ability, your recon admin, deleting items, manual manipulating gift card numbers, and reconciliation audits. For more information on those particular permissions and what they do, I'd suggest you watch the full rundown of what each permission does. Now, going over how things have been broken down in the new tabs here. The dashboard is, of course, going to be the dashboard homepage whenever you first log into Director. Let me log in with a separate user just so you can see that. This dashboard here, whenever you're in corporate mode, you have other abilities to change and see, such as like worksheets, to-do list, things like that. That has to do with these other options here. Like the worksheets, you have the read, write, and none. So if I was in corporate mode in a corporate environment, I would have the worksheets module visible, and I could either read or make changes there or not see it at all. My loyalty customers, that's going to be under my loyalty module. Announcements will also be under the dashboard area. Loyalty analysis, that's going to be for enhanced loyalty under the loyalty module. So there's a number of areas here that has to do with both the dashboard and the loyalty module and the tabs within those. So like for an example, going to my loyalty module, can I make changes to my customers? Can I at least see my customers? Can I not see those customers? Can I change my loyalty campaigns? That's the right permission. Can I read my loyalty campaigns? That's no changes allowed, but I can at least view what's here, or none. That's grayed out. I can't see that. Every tab is going to have that same permission type, one of those three permissions. Whenever we go to Pricebook, we're going to see all of the different permission headers for each tab there as well. Your item details, your mass updates, your buy downs, your discounts, same type of the three permissions. Right, I can view, create, edit, and delete. Read, I can only view, I can't make any changes, I can't create, I can't delete. And then none. I can't even go into that tab. You have your formulas, uplifts, or links, discounts, exceptions, remote sales, all those tabs that are going to be in the Pricebook module. Same for your inventory module. That has to do with your transfers, your pending transfers, your reorders, your receiving, your adjustments, your cycle counts, all of those have their applicable permission set now. So you can once again now have someone who can do cycle counts, but they can't do anything else in that module. That's great for maybe a traditional cashier who can't receive an invoice, can't do an order, can't do an adjustment, but they can at least count their store. Using that in conjunction with the permission to use cycle counts read-only is fantastic. They can actually count the store for you and then not apply that count. You can view that count and apply it, making sure that your inventory is indeed correct before it's applied. The reports, that's broken down as well for each report category. And finally, maintenance. Each tab in maintenance, the module that we're in right now, has the read, write, and none permission. So once again, it's no longer global. It's very, very granular, and it allows you to really fine-tune your employees' permissions. This, of course, maybe means you need to create a couple more user groups just to fine-tune the groups, just to make that management a lot simpler than doing it on an employee-by-employee basis, but it's totally worth the outcome. So that's all the changes that occurred in the permission side. I hope everybody's learned something new today. Once again, you can see a list of all of our webinars if you go to our website, goftx.com, choose the FTX Lifeline tab at the top of the page, look for that webinar button, choose that webinar button, and then that will show you a list of all of our previous webinars that you can view, upcoming webinars you can sign up for, and sign up for the newsletter. If you have any suggestions on future webinar topics, let us know at info@goftx.com. And if you have any questions on this particular topic, let us know at websupport@fasttraxpos.com. Thank you, and have a great weekend.